Hi, good evening and welcome to the Knatters Knits podcast. My name is Natalie, also known as Knatters Knits all over the internet, and today I'm doing episode number 44. I can't believe I've got that so far already. So a huge thank you to everybody who watches, particularly if you're a returning viewer. I still don't understand why you come back, but I really do appreciate that you do. Thank you so much, because I really do enjoy actually talking to you all. And to those of you who are new, hi and welcome. Right, this is a knitting podcast, so let me get on with it. First of all, before I start the knitting component, I'd just like to say I'm really sorry that it's been a month. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit under the weather still. I think it's hay fever, but I haven't been out today, so I don't understand. And I have to apologise, my mouth is really sore and swollen on this side, so if I sound a bit weird, that's why. The last month has been a little bit on the hectic side. If you've been over to the Ravelry group, to the Knatters Knits group there, you will have seen that I posted an update that I just haven't been home. As you will probably remember, I look after my grandson George 3 days a week down south. So it's a 400-mile round trip, and it is taking its toll on me, I have to say. But I've also not been very well. I've had a couple of stomach bugs, so I've not been so great there. And it's also been George's birthday, so I had an extended time down there. Just bear with me a second. My apologies, the sniffles are really getting the better of me. Right, so let's start off with finished objects. It's been that long, I can't remember what I've done, but I know, she says reaching to one side, one thing I have finished, and that's this. This is now up in my shop at www.knattersknits.co.uk, and it's my latest spin, which I must actually remember to put on the list for Stash Dash. This is what I've called Rose Garden. Beautiful colours. It's mainly Blueface Leicester, but there is a little bit of the old sparkle. I managed to get it to a sport weight, so that's not bad for a 3-ply. I'm really pleased with that. So my spinning is getting finer at long last, and it is really soft and squishy, although I don't know if you can see, you can probably just see the sparkle there, little bits of it. So that's now available in the shop to buy. So that's my finished object. And you know, I'm doing Stash Dash, and the whole idea is that I actually would finish a load of objects. I've got 3 new cast-ons to show you. Oh, I know, 3. What can I say? Oops. Yeah, 3 new cast-ons. I have been doing some of the blanket, which I haven't brought over to show you because it's huge, but that is coming along nicely, so I am actually doing some of my Stash Dash projects. But one of the projects I've started is this one. It's Hot Mess here. Not my usual colour, you may say, and you'd be right. Also, not my usual blend of fibres either. This is a linen mix, and the reason I decided to knit this was because it was getting very, very hot, and I found that just knitting with wool was just too much, far too much for me. When it hit 30 degrees C, I just knew that I couldn't carry on with knitting wool. So, sorry, I've got a tangle here, there we are. So I decided, after watching the Espace Tricot podcast, sorry, I have really got myself in a mess here. Hot mess of something or other. There we are. That I would have a go at knitting with linen. Never done it before, so trying to push myself outside of my comfort zone again. And also, it got so hot, I don't know if you can see this dress, I had to buy from a local supermarket because while I was down in the town where my grandson lives, it got so hot and I needed something really, really cool, not my thick wrap trousers that I normally wear. And I decided that this would actually probably make quite a nice, let's lose the purple a minute, layering piece to go over it. So I'm making this up on the fly. I think I'm going to actually call this Here's One I Made Earlier, or something like that. I haven't quite decided yet. But this is huge. So far, this is just the back. Linen. There is a little bit of a rib at the bottom, although you probably, oh, it's showing up better there than it would normally. And what I'm going to do is not necessarily sew it up from the bottom. I might start a way up. It just depends really on what it looks like when it's on. I'm going to do a cast off for the neck, do some short rows, and then I'm going to carry on again and pick back up and knit the other side. So it's going to be a very simple, very drapey sort of item. But I do like the white flecks in it, which are actually picking up nicely on camera. So that's that one. As I said, made up as I go along. So that's that one. My second, excuse me, is something that I'm a bit late with. Everybody else seems to have been making this forever, easily since the beginning of the year. And if I show you that, you'll all know that I'm talking about the Find Your Fade shawl. The thing that has been probably one of the biggest hits and the biggest trendsetter this year. Not only has Andrea Mowry done this one, but she's then gone on to design other patterns with a fade idea. So there's a jumper, there's a couple of other things as well. But this idea of melding colours to actually get them to work together has really taken off. That, along with sparkles and speckles this year, has really done the trick. So I've started it, but because I don't take it with me when I go down to look after George, it's my treat when I get home, really. So this is how far I've got so far. Now the first yarn here is hand spun, and I'm doing something a bit unusual in that I'm putting hand spun and commercial yarn together. Now all my commercial yarns are from Truly Hooked, and they're all in her sparkle sock or in a standard sock weight. So we've got all sorts of different colours in this bag, but these are the colours I will be using. That's my hand spun there. There's a glittery pink, a standard pink, an orange, a lemon, and one that's a combination of orange and pink. So I hope that should work quite well. They're not my usual colours, they're taking me out of my comfort zone a little bit. But this should be a lovely, lovely knit when it's finished, I think. I do like it. It's lovely and soft, partly because of the hand spun, but partly because of the Truly Hooked yarn as well. So that's my Find Your Fade shawl. I don't know why I got it into my head that that was going to be difficult, but it's not as difficult as I thought it was. Yes, the lace sections do need a little bit of looking at, and I need to concentrate, so this time of night's not a good idea. It's just got 9 o'clock on Saturday evening, but it's coming on nicely, so I'm really pleased with that. Okay, my next cast on, I only started yesterday. I've had the pattern for a little while, and this pattern I actually saw on Ravelry in the testing pool, which is a group for people who want to test knit, and designers go in there and ask people if they'll test knit it. Now I saw this at the time, I just thought it was adorable. It's a hoodie in the shape of an owl, and I just really, really like it. It's by a lady whose name I have forgotten. She's not put it on here. It says wecountryyarns.co.uk, made and printed in Scotland. Now it says Little Owl Jumper on here, but I think she's actually changed the title now to Little Owlette Jumper or something like that. So if you're searching on Ravelry, I would use the word Owlette. So that's that one. It's in 3 different yarns, and I'm being naughty because I'm mixing acrylic and ordinary yarn wool, but mainly because I do have a mixture. So I had one skein of this, or rather one ball of this, which is a Diggle DK, which is woolly knits, and I think this was sent to me as a sample because I do use some of their yarns when I dye. So that's woolly knits. As you can see, it's got these little tweedy bits in. Then I'm using this one, which is a West Yorkshire Spinners Blueface Leicester. It's lovely and soft, really, really nice. People keep saying to me, Blueface Leicester's quite scratchy. No, this isn't. This is lovely next to skin stuff. So I'm really pleased with that one. And then the dark colour that I'm using is this, which is, it's an acrylic. It's called DY Choice. It's the ball band. And it's their Basics DK. Yep. So, I've had a few hiccups with this. I have actually pulled it out once and started again. And as you can see, I'm not usually a colourwork person, hence the mess. But it's knitting up. There's a little sleeve there, and one on the front or the back there, sleeve there, and then either the front or the back again there. It's knitting the round. It's charted only, which if I had known that and read it through properly before I start, as a really good hint for you there, I wouldn't have started it, because I'm not very good at reading charts, and although I go from right to left on my first row, I forget to go back the other way. Now I'm quite fortunate that even though I've done that, I don't know if you can see, this is a fairly symmetrical pattern, so it doesn't actually matter which way around I do it. Phew, what a mess. The pattern's great. I think the little jumper at the end for George is going to be fantastic. And I'm keeping all the yarns in this bag. Now this bag, let me sit back a bit so you can see it properly, I have only just recently bought. It's called a Duo, and it's by a company called Lori Lane in the United States. She had a Kickstarter to start up production of these, and this is what it looks like. Now when I got it, I thought it was going to be bigger than this, so I was a bit disappointed about the size. However, that's my fault for not looking it up and not asking any questions before I bought. The material, I don't know if you can see, but this here is all raised, all the chocolate brown. The green isn't. The green's just printed on, but this is like, do any of you remember in the 1980s the flocked wallpaper that used to be on a lot of Indian restaurants? Just like that. And it's lovely, raised, beautiful bag. Nice solid base there, nice and flat. And the fastening is magnetic, I think. It's on so that it pops closed, no zips. So what you can do is, apart from lose everything all over the floor, is you can have your knitting coming out of the top of it. Now the whole idea with this bag, let me take everything out of it a minute to show you properly. Is that it's designed for colourwork, and it's designed for up to 4 balls of different colourwork. So I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it shows it quite nicely actually. 1, 2, 3, 4 different balls, and so your yarn doesn't get tangled up and messy. Inside here there are little pieces that you can actually thread your yarn through so they don't get tangled. And I wish I'd remembered that before I started this project. Duh. Never mind. It's lined beautifully inside with this lovely green. And I mean, you could push all these little packets back because they're not solid, they're not rigid, and I'll just use it as an ordinary handbag. And I am sorely tempted, I have to say. The only issue I have is with the price. It was a lot of money, so much that I'm not actually going to admit on camera how much it was, but go to Lori Lane's website and you'll see for yourselves, and that's Laurie, and Lane, Laine. Beautiful bag. Once I paid for it, I suddenly realised I was liable for the customs charges, and because of how expensive it was, I suddenly thought, oh no, that's something I shouldn't have done. Because for those of you who aren't in the UK, we pay customs charges on anything imported outside of the EU. And it's done as a percentage of the price of this. Somehow or other this slipped through customs and I didn't have to pay, which is unusual, because usually I do. Right, so that's that one. Another acquisition I wanted to show you about is a book. And it's this book, and that card is flashing at me and I don't understand why, but no doubt I will in a minute. It's this book by Betsy Corkill, and it's called Knit for Health and Wellness. How to Knit a Flexible Mind and More. Really good read, based on all her research. I'm glad she's written it, because actually it is now taking off to be one of the books that is a must read for anybody who's into mindfulness or who wants some evidence to back up why knitting is really good for you. Quiet knitting there is one of the chapters. Laid out very nicely. There's not lots of tiny little text. There's lots of quotes from people. Knitting Together is another chapter. It's just really, really good. I love it. So How to Knit a Flexible Mind and More by Betsy Corkill. You can buy it on Amazon. That's where I got mine. And the recommended retail price is £11.99 in the UK, but I don't think I paid that. Now I suppose I should tell you about what I'm wearing, except I can't remember. All I remember is that I knit it for the Christmas do last year. And here we go. It was a whole load of, I think it was Sparkle Duck, which of course is now no longer available because Sparkle Duck, the lady who had the dyers, was the dyer, actually sadly passed away fairly recently. But I just did one of my made it up as I went along type shawls, and it's just nice for putting around your shoulders in the evening, and a brilliant way to use up some of those mini skein kits that you can get now. So that's that one. Other than that, I'm going to stop here, I think, just for a minute, and then I'm going to come back. My apologies for that. As you can probably tell, it's getting quite late now because the light's changing. But also, there was a little picture came up on my screen and it was telling me something and I didn't understand what. So I'm glad I stopped, because it was telling me I only had 2 minutes left on the thing. You can tell it's really late at night, can't you? Normally I would put in a segment here, a learning zone section, but I'm not going to do tonight because, as you can hear, my mouth and my throat are not very great. I'm not going to put one in this episode at all, but I will start again next time. I don't know how I'm going to get on with Stash Dash. For those of you that haven't watched the podcast before, Stash Dash is a self-imposed competition run by Lala of the Knit Girls. And that started at the end of May and goes on till the middle of August, so I've got a few weeks left to go on that one now. And the whole idea is that you challenge yourself to actually finish as much of your stash as you can, or some of those projects that need getting finished. Clearly I'm not going to get to the end and do my jumper, and also I've just ordered another set of quantities worth of yarn for somebody's Christmas present, and I've got that to knit up as well. So that jumper is not going to happen in time for Stash Dash. I will, I hope, get the blanket finished. Excuse me. I'm hoping this little jumper for George will get finished, and also the linen top, hopefully, as well. We'll have to see though, so keep in tune for that one because you'll get to see that over the next few weeks. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm really extremely tired. My mouth is getting more sore. The weather has been absolutely glorious, and I'm just keep looking out in the garden because even though it's, what time is it now? Nearly 10 o'clock, 3 minutes to 10 at night, it's still, in fact, let me just turn you around. You can see it's still outside, still quite light. And come back. And I can still see the roses out there. The garden's been mowed. There's little tubs with some wildflowers in here, so it's a really nice place to sit of an evening and chill. But having said that, tomorrow I'm off to a friend of mine's birthday party. She's having afternoon tea and cakes. So we're going into town for that one tomorrow, and then I'm heading down to start the usual week with George. He's got his immunisations this week, so it's not going to be such a great week. We've also had a few health issues with him. He's been quite poorly and he's been getting thinner and thinner, and we've now discovered that he is probably going to be lactose intolerant. We're still waiting on the celiac results, but fingers crossed that it is just the lactose. So he's now on a dairy-free diet, and that seems to be doing the trick. So what with that and the music and movement class on Tuesday, we've got a fairly full week. The following week I'm planning to take him down to see his great-granddad, who he absolutely adores. I've got a photograph of the pair of them on my iPad, you know, when you first log in. And every time George sees it, he grabs it and gives him a great big kiss. So I'm going to take him down to see his granddad because it's actually his granddad's 80th birthday. So that's coming up the week after next. Other than that, I'm just going to plough on with what I've got to think of this summer. Have a nice quiet summer, and then we'll sort of wind things up come September and start going a little bit crazy again. I'm hoping to have a knit along. I'm hoping to have all sorts of other things going on, so stay tuned, and I shall be in touch really soon. I hope you're all well. I hope you're feeling better than I am. I hope that you're enjoying your summer knitting, and I shall see you really, really soon. Thanks for taking the time to watch me. Leave any comments down below or go over to the Ravelry group. It would be lovely to see you in either place. And also the show notes I will try and get put onto my WordPress site, which is nattersknits.wordpress.com. So do pop along and see me, and of course there's always my website now, nattersknits.co.uk. Some of the things that I actually show on the podcast are there for purchase. Lovely to see you, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye.